Well, would you look at that? We've got mail. I know I came on here and I told you guys there was no chance we would hear anything from the deposition or what happened there or what she wore or anything. Well, I'm happy to announce we've got a couple of things. Don't get too excited. It's a crumb of a crumb of a crumb, but it's something. Let's get into it.
New developments have emerged in the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni legal dispute, providing rare insights into the actress's deposition proceedings and her legal team's strategic positioning. While depositions typically remain sealed, court filings have revealed telling details about Lively's approach to this high-stakes defamation case.
First up, we have this article from the Daily Mail. Team Blake assembled this. It ends with us, I think is what they meant. Not this ends with us. This it ends with us. Star 37 arrives for the deposition hearing with husband Ryan Reynolds and 8 lawyers. But
the information that has surfaced raises significant questions about the strength of Lively's claims and the tactical decisions being made by her legal representatives. What we're seeing suggests a case that may be encountering more resistance than initially anticipated, with potential implications that extend far beyond this individual dispute.
Her deposition in New York yesterday with the full team Blake, her sister, and best friend Robin, and husband Ryan Reynolds, and 8 lawyers. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 lawyers.
Blake Lively's legal battle stems from allegations of sexual harassment and subsequent retaliation she has leveled against Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director in It Ends With Us. The actress claims that Baldoni's conduct during filming created a hostile work environment, and that his public relations team later orchestrated a coordinated campaign to damage her reputation.
A source close to the deposition says that her older half-sister Robin and actress and Deadpool husband Ryan Reynolds were with her when she came into the building.
The case has attracted widespread attention not only due to the celebrity status of those involved, but because it represents a significant test of how harassment claims are prosecuted in the entertainment industry. Lively's legal team has positioned this as a clear-cut case of workplace misconduct followed by systematic retaliation. However, recent court filings from Baldoni's legal representatives suggest a markedly different narrative.
Anybody who was a party of the lawsuit could have been in a deposition. For example, had Ryan not been dismissed from this, like a month ago or whatever, he could have been in the room.
They characterize Lively's claims as unfounded and argue that any negative publicity she received was the natural consequence of her own actions and public statements, rather than the result of an orchestrated smear campaign. The deposition that took place represents a critical juncture in this dispute, as it provides the first opportunity for Baldoni's legal team to directly challenge Lively's version of events under oath.
They also say here in this article, Justin Baldoni and his business partner Jamie Heath were shut away with Blake and her legal team as she gave an account of events which led to her filing. So we know now that Jamie Heath was with Justin and Brian Friedman, probably Ellen Garofalo and Kevin.
Court documents reveal that Lively arrived at her deposition accompanied by an unusually large legal entourage. Reports indicate she was supported by 8 attorneys from the prominent firm Wilkie Farr Gallagher, along with her husband Ryan Reynolds and sister Robin Lively. This substantial legal presence suggests her team was preparing for an aggressive examination. The choice to bring such extensive legal representation is noteworthy from a strategic standpoint. While parties to litigation are entitled to adequate counsel, the decision to deploy 8 lawyers for a single deposition indicates either exceptional concern about potential testimony or an attempt to create an intimidating atmosphere for the opposing side.
We write in response to Blake Lively's letter concerning Liner Friedman motions to quash the subpoena that she served upon the law firm. To justify the harassing subpoena, the letter erroneously alleges that Brian Friedman Esquire defamed Lively and that his conduct had amounted to public relations works rather than off an attorney. It appears that Lively is slowly realizing that there is no retaliatory smear campaign by the Wayfair parties against her. Consequently, Lively is shifting her focus to Liner Friedman in connection with her 14th cause of action, which alleges that certain Wayfair parties, through the attorney Friedman, purportedly defamed her via post-litigation statements to the media.
Legal experts often view such displays of force as double-edged strategies. While they may provide psychological comfort to the deponent and signal the seriousness with which the case is being approached, they can also suggest defensive positioning and may create an impression of legal overkill that could backfire with judges or juries. The deposition itself lasted over 3 hours, with court filings referencing specific timestamps that indicate extensive questioning. The length suggests that Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, conducted a thorough examination of Lively's claims and potentially uncovered areas of vulnerability in her narrative. Perhaps most revealing are the post-deposition legal maneuvers that have emerged. Lively's team has issued subpoenas targeting Baldoni's law firm, seeking discovery related to their public relations activities and media statements. This represents a significant expansion of the case beyond the original harassment allegations. The subpoena strategy appears designed to paint Baldoni's legal team's public statements as part of the alleged retaliation campaign. However, this approach faces substantial legal hurdles. Communications between attorneys and media outlets in defense of their clients generally receive strong protection under legal privilege doctrines. Baldoni's legal team has filed a motion to quash these subpoenas, arguing that Lively's demands are both legally baseless and practically unnecessary. Their filing points out that Lively has already identified the specific statements she claims are defamatory and has provided transcripts and links to the relevant media appearances. This raises the question of what additional discovery could realistically be needed. The legal arguments presented suggest that Lively's team may be engaging in what courts sometimes characterize as fishing expeditions, broad discovery requests designed more to burden the opposing side than to uncover genuinely relevant evidence. The most significant development may be what appears to be a damaging admission made during the deposition itself. Court filings indicate that when questioned by Friedman, Lively acknowledged that her personal knowledge of ongoing smear campaigns relates to matters that have been redacted from public documents. This admission is potentially devastating to Lively's case. If she cannot demonstrate personal knowledge of the alleged campaign against her, or if her knowledge primarily relates to other matters, it undermines the foundation of her retaliation claims. The strategic implications are profound. Successful harassment and retaliation cases typically require plaintiffs to establish clear causal connections between their complaints and subsequent adverse actions. If Lively's own testimony suggests her knowledge of negative campaigns relates to other sources or situations, it may be impossible to prove that Baldoni's team was responsible for the damage to her reputation. Furthermore, the timing of various legal maneuvers raises additional questions. Lively's team demanded that Baldoni's attorneys cease making public statements in December 2024, shortly after her initial complaints became public. However, they retained their current law firm just one day before making these demands, which creates a logical inconsistency in their claims about the firm's role in any alleged campaign. This case represents more than a dispute between two celebrities. It serves as a significant test of how harassment and retaliation claims are evaluated in the current legal environment. The entertainment industry has seen numerous high-profile cases in recent years, and the outcomes often establish precedents that influence future litigation strategies. The legal principle of litigation privilege presents a particularly important aspect of this case. Once legal proceedings commence, attorneys generally have broad latitude to make public statements in defense of their clients. This privilege exists specifically to prevent the chilling effect that might result if lawyers faced potential liability for zealously representing their clients' interests. Lively's attempt to characterize such statements as defamatory retaliation represents a direct challenge to these established protections. If successful, it could significantly alter how attorneys approach public relations aspects of high-profile litigation. The case also highlights the complex intersection between social media dynamics and legal proceedings. In an environment where public opinion can significantly impact career prospects, the line between legitimate legal defense and improper retaliation becomes increasingly difficult to define. The developments emerging from this deposition suggest that Lively's legal team may be facing more significant challenges than initially anticipated. The apparent admission regarding her knowledge of smear campaigns, combined with the difficulties in establishing clear connections between her complaints and subsequent negative publicity, indicates potential weaknesses in her case. The subpoena disputes further suggest a legal strategy that may be more reactive than proactive. Rather than building a strong foundation for their primary claims, Lively's team appears to be expanding the scope of litigation in ways that may ultimately prove counterproductive. Legal observers note that cases involving public figures often face additional hurdles, particularly regarding defamation claims. The requirement to prove actual malice, combined with the legitimate interests in public discourse about entertainment industry conduct, creates a challenging environment for such litigation. Moving forward, this case will likely serve as an important precedent for how courts balance harassment victims' rights to legal remedy against the legitimate interests of defendants in mounting vigorous defenses. The outcome may well influence how future entertainment industry disputes are litigated and resolved. The ultimate resolution of this matter will provide valuable insights into the evolving landscape of harassment litigation and the boundaries of acceptable legal advocacy in high-profile disputes. For now, the evidence suggests a case that may be more complex and challenging for the plaintiff than initially apparent.